Derek Holloway slammed Damani Carter's face into the concrete. Her nose exploded. Blood sprayed across the white steps of Jefferson High. Her grandmother's bracelet, the last gift before she died, shattered into pieces under Derek's boot as he ground it into the pavement. "Welcome to Memphis, Chicago." He grabbed her hair and yanked her head back. "Now lick the blood off my shoes." 53 students watched. 12 teachers looked away. The principal stood at his window sipping coffee. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. But exactly 10 minutes later, a quiet black girl named Zora Mitchell stepped out of the shadows. And what she did next would tear this town apart. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and follow this story until the very end. Leave a comment telling me what city you are watching from. I want to see how far this story travels across the world. Now let me take you back to the beginning. Let me show you how one girl's courage changed everything. Zora Mitchell's alarm went off at 5:15 in the morning. She did not hit snooze. She never hit snooze. There was no time for extra sleep when you were the only person holding your family together. She sat up in bed and listened. Down the hall, she could hear her brother Marcus practicing in the bathroom. He was 12 years old, and he had a stutter that got worse when he was nervous. Every morning, he stood in front of the mirror and practiced saying his own name. Marcus. 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 Zora closed her eyes and felt her heart break a little. It broke every morning. She had learned to live with the pain. She got dressed quickly. Dark jeans, gray hoodie, white sneakers that were more brown than white now. Nothing flashy, nothing memorable. She had perfected the art of being invisible, and invisibility required a uniform. Her mother, Lorraine, had already left for work. The note on the kitchen counter said the same thing it always said. "Breakfast in the fridge. Walk Marcus to the bus stop. I love you both. Be safe." Be safe. 2 words that carried the weight of the world. Zora heated up biscuits from 2 days ago and called for her brother. He came shuffling out of the bathroom, his shoulders hunched, his eyes down. He sat at the table and ate without speaking. Mornings were hard for him. The stutter was always worse before school. "You ready?" Zora asked when he finished. Marcus nodded. He did not trust his voice yet. She took his hand and walked him to the corner where his bus picked him up. Other kids were already there, laughing and pushing each other. Marcus stood apart from them, alone, trying to shrink into himself. "Hey," Zora said softly. "Look at me." He looked up. His eyes were wet. "You are brave," she told him. "You are smart. You are loved. Do not let anyone tell you different. Okay." He nodded. The bus came. He climbed on without looking back. Zora watched until the bus disappeared around the corner. Then she turned and started walking to her own school. The route took her past the abandoned textile mill. She used to walk on the other side of the street so she would not have to look at it. Now she forced herself to look every single day. The broken windows, the rusted gates, the faded sign that still said Mitchell Textiles, even though the company had closed years before her father died there. William Mitchell had worked at that mill for 18 years. He had started as a janitor and worked his way up to floor supervisor. He had been so proud the day he got promoted. He came home with flowers for Lorraine and candy for the kids, and he said that things were finally going to be different. 3 months later, a machine malfunctioned. The safety guards had been removed to speed up production. William tried to fix it himself because they were short-staffed, and the foreman was screaming about quotas. The machine caught his arm and pulled him in. He died on the factory floor while his co-workers watched. The company paid out $50,000 in settlement money. Lorraine used it to pay off the medical bills and the funeral costs. There was nothing left. Just memories and grief, and a family learning how to survive without the man who had held them together. Zora walked past the mill and did not cry. She had used up all her tears a long time ago. She arrived at Jefferson High School at 7:45. The building sat on a hill overlooking downtown Memphis, red brick and white columns, looking like something out of a movie about the Old South. Out front stood a statue of General Cornelius Jefferson, Confederate war hero, slave owner, the man the school was named after. Every year, community groups petitioned to have the statue removed. Every year, the school board voted to keep it. The board was made up of people whose great-great-grandfathers had fought for the Confederacy. They called it heritage. Zora called it hate. She walked past the statue without looking at it. Looking only made her angry, and anger was dangerous when you were a black girl in a school where the rules did not apply equally. She was almost to the front doors when she heard the shouting. A crowd had gathered near the flagpole. Students in a loose circle, phones out, faces hungry for entertainment. That particular energy that meant something bad was happening, and everybody wanted to watch. Zora's first instinct was to keep walking. Her mother's voice echoed in her head the same word she had heard 1,000 times since her father died. "Keep your head down, baby. Do not make waves. We cannot afford trouble. Just get through school and get out. That is all you have to do. Get through and get out." But something made her stop. Something made her look. And what she saw made her blood turn to ice. There was a girl on the ground, a black girl about her age with natural hair and gold earrings, and an African print scarf around her neck. She was on her hands and knees scrambling to gather her scattered books, while blood dripped from a cut on her palm. Standing over her were 3 boys Zora knew all too well. Derek Holloway, quarterback, golden boy. His father owned half the car dealerships in Shelby County and sat on the school board. His mother chaired the PTA. He had a scholarship to Alabama waiting for him and a smile that made teachers forget every rule he broke. Tyler Beaumont. His father was on the city council. His mother sold million-dollar houses to rich white families fleeing the city. He drove a BMW that cost more than Zora's house and parked it wherever he wanted because nobody dared tell him no. Jake Rawlings. His uncle was a federal judge. His grandfather had been mayor for 16 years. He had learned before he could walk that laws were suggestions meant for other people. These were the untouchables, the golden boys, the princes of Jefferson High, and right now they were destroying a girl Zora had never seen before. Derek was talking loud enough for everyone to hear. He wanted an audience. He always wanted an audience. "What is wrong, Chicago? They did not teach you how to walk in the ghetto, too busy dodging bullets and cashing welfare checks." Tyler laughed like it was the funniest thing he had ever heard. "Maybe she is looking for her food stamps. I heard they hand those out like candy where she comes from." Jake had his phone out recording everything. "This is going to go viral. Ghetto girl gets a reality check at Jefferson High." The girl on the ground, the one Zora would later learn, was named Amani. Carter looked up at her tormentors. Her eyes were not defeated. They were furious. "Are you done?" she asked. Her voice was steady, controlled. "Because I have class in 10 minutes and you are wasting my time." Derek's smile vanished. "What did you just say to me?" Imani rose slowly to her feet. She was at least a foot shorter than Derek, but she looked him directly in the eyes. She did not back down. She did not look away. "I said you are wasting my time. I have heard better insults from children. If you are going to be racist, at least be creative about it." The crowd went silent. Nobody talked to Derek Holloway like that. Nobody. For a moment, Derek just stared at her. Then his face twisted into something ugly, something dangerous. "You think you are tough," he said softly. "You think because you are from Chicago you are hard. Let me explain something to you, sweetheart. This is my school. This is my town. My family built this place, and you are nothing here. You understand me? Nothing." "Your family built it on the backs of slaves," Imani said. "That is not something to brag about." Derek moved so fast Zora barely saw it. He grabbed Imani by the collar of her jacket with both hands and lifted her off her feet. "Say that again," he growled. "I dare you." Imani's feet dangled in the air. Her face was turning red, but her voice came out strong. "Your family built this." On. Slaves. Derek threw her. She flew backward and hit the ground hard. Her head bounced off the concrete. Her arm twisted beneath her. Something cracked. She did not scream. She did not cry. She just lay there gasping for breath, staring up at the sky. And nobody moved to help her. Zora stood frozen at the edge of the crowd. Her heart was pounding so hard she could feel it in her throat. Her hands were shaking. Every fiber of her being screamed at her to do something, say something, push through the crowd, and help this girl who was bleeding on the ground. But her mother's voice was louder. "We cannot afford trouble, baby. Marcus needs you. I need you. We have already lost your father. I cannot lose you too." So Zora did what she had trained herself to do. She looked away. She turned her back. She walked into the school building without looking back. And with every step, she felt her father's ghost watching her with disappointed eyes. First period was English. Mrs. Coleman was talking about symbolism in To Kill a Mockingbird. Zora sat in the back row and stared at her desk. She did not hear a word. All she could see was Amani's face, the fury in her eyes, the blood on her hands, the way she had refused to back down even when she was being choked. All she could feel was shame. Her father had been a civil rights activist before he became a factory worker. He had marched in Selma when he was 16 years old. He had been beaten by police and bitten by dogs and sprayed with fire hoses. He had never backed down. He had never stayed silent. "Courage is not the absence of fear," he used to tell her. "Courage is deciding that something else is more important than your fear." Every person faces moments when they have to choose between what is easy and what is right. Those moments define who you are, not your words, not your intentions, your actions. Zora had been 10 years old when he said that. She had not really understood. Now she was 16, and she understood perfectly, and she had failed. Second period was algebra. The teacher's voice droned on about equations and variables. Zora looked at the empty seat 2 rows ahead of her. Someone had told her that was where Imani sat. She was not there. Third period was history. They were studying the Civil War. Mr. Thompson talked about states' rights and economic factors and never once mentioned slavery. He called the Confederates brave soldiers fighting for their homeland. He did not mention that their homeland was built on kidnapping and torture and murder. Zora bit her tongue so hard she tasted blood. Fourth period was study hall. She sat in the library and stared at the same page of her textbook for 45 minutes. The words blurred together. Nothing made sense. She kept thinking about what her father would have done. She knew exactly what he would have done. He would have walked straight into that crowd. He would have put himself between Imani and the boys. He would have said something, done something, refused to let evil happen in front of his eyes. But her father was dead, and Zora was alive. And staying alive meant staying invisible. Didn't it? The lunch bell rang. Students flooded out of classrooms talking and laughing, oblivious to everything except their own little worlds. Zora gathered her things slowly. She was not hungry, but she walked toward the cafeteria anyway, because that was what she always did. Follow the routine, stay invisible, get through and get out. She was crossing the courtyard when she saw her. Imani was sitting alone under the big oak tree behind the school. She had a first aid kit open beside her, and she was wrapping a bandage around her wrist. Her face was calm, but Zora could see the pain in the tightness of her jaw, the wetness around her eyes. She had been crying. Maybe she was still crying. It was hard to tell from this distance. Zora stopped walking. She stood there in the middle of the courtyard, students streaming past her on both sides, and she felt like she was standing at a crossroads. One path led to the cafeteria, to invisibility, to safety. The other path led to that tree, to that girl, to everything her mother had warned her against. She thought about her mother working double shifts at the hotel, scrubbing toilets, and making beds for people who never even looked her in the eye. She thought about Marcus practicing his name in the mirror every morning, trying so hard to speak without stumbling. She thought about all the reasons she should keep walking, should mind her own business, should protect herself and her family from the powerful people who ran this town. Then she thought about her father. His voice echoed in her head. Those moments define who you are. Zora made her choice. She walked over to the oak tree and sat down beside Imani without asking permission. Imani looked up startled. Her eyes were red but dry. Her guard was up immediately. Can I help you with something? I saw what happened this morning, Zora said. I was there. I watched the whole thing. Imani's expression went cold. Good for you. So did about 50 other people. None of them did anything either. The words hit Zora like a punch to the chest. She deserved them. She knew she deserved them. I know, she said quietly. I should have helped. I should have said something. I did not, and I am sorry. Sorry. Imani laughed bitterly. Sorry does not fix my wrist. Sorry does not fix my grandmother's bracelet. Sorry is just a word people say to make themselves feel better about being cowards. Zora did not argue. She could not argue. Everything Imani said was true. You are right, she said. Sorry does not fix anything, but I am still sorry, and I am not going to walk away again. Imani studied her for a long moment. Her eyes were sharp, searching, looking for the lie. Looking for the angle. Why are you here? She finally asked. Really? What do you want from me? Zora thought about the question. What did she want? She was not sure anymore. All she knew was that something inside her had shifted. Something that had been sleeping for 2 years had woken up. I do not know, she admitted. I just could not let you sit here alone, not after what happened, not after I did nothing. Guilt, Imani said flatly. You feel guilty. Yes. And you think sitting with me will make it go away? No. I think the guilt will stay forever. I think I earned it. But maybe I can do something better going forward. Maybe I can try to be the person I should have been this morning. Imani was quiet for a long time. She went back to wrapping her wrist. The bandage was too loose. Her hands were shaking too much to do it properly. Here, Zora said. Let me. Imani hesitated. Then she held out her arm. Zora took the bandage and wrapped it carefully, gently, the way she had learned to wrap Marcus's knee when he fell off his bike. She had gotten good at first aid over the years. When you could not afford doctors, you learned to take care of things yourself. You know how to do this, Imani said. It was not a question. My brother falls down a lot, and my mother works all the time, so I learned. Where is your father? Zora's hands paused for just a second. Then she continued wrapping. He died 2 years ago. Factory accident. I am sorry. Me too. They sat in silence while Zora finished the bandage. When she was done, she sat back and looked at Imani directly. Tell me about yourself. Where are you from? Why did you move here? Imani's guard went up again. Why do you want to know? Because if we are going to be friends, I should probably know your name at least. Who said anything about being friends? I did, just now. For the first time, something like a smile flickered across Imani's face. It was gone almost immediately, but Zora saw it. Imani Carter, she said. I am from Chicago, South Side. We moved here a month ago because my mother needed to get away from my father. Get away. Imani's jaw tightened. He hit her. For years. She finally got the courage to leave. We had family down here, so we came. Zora nodded slowly. She understood that kind of courage. The kind that took years to build. The kind that meant leaving everything you knew. I am Zora Mitchell. I have lived in Memphis my whole life. My mother works at the Peabody Hotel cleaning rooms. My brother is 12, and he has a stutter, and he gets bullied at his school almost as bad as you got bullied today. Imani's expression softened slightly. That is rough. It is what it is. They sat in silence for a while. Students walked past without looking at them. Two black girls under a tree, invisible to everyone. Finally, Imani spoke again. Those boys, Derek and his friends, they are not going to stop. You know that, right? I know. They are going to keep coming after me. They are going to make my life hell. That is what people like them do. They break people who do not bow down. I know. So why would you want to be my friend? Why would you put yourself in their crosshairs? Zora thought about the question. She thought about her mother and her brother and all the reasons she had stayed invisible for so long. Then she thought about her father. Because my daddy did not raise a coward, she said quietly. He raised me to stand up for what is right, even when it is hard, even when it is dangerous. I forgot that for a while. I got scared, and I forgot who I was supposed to be. But I remember now. Imani looked at her for a long moment. Then she held out her hand. Okay, Zora Mitchell. Let us see what happens. Zora shook her hand. The grip was firm, strong. Let us see what happens. The afternoon classes passed in a blur. Zora found herself actually paying attention for the first time in months. Something had changed inside her. Something had woken up. She felt more alive than she had felt since her father died. She was leaving her 6th period class when Mrs. Patterson, the school secretary, intercepted her in the hallway. Zora Mitchell, Principal Harrison wants to see you in his office. Zora's stomach dropped. Why, what did I do? I just deliver the messages, honey. You better go on now. The walk to the principal's office felt endless. Zora's mind raced through possibilities. Had someone seen her talking to Imani? Had Derek made up some lie about her? Was she about to be expelled for something she did not do? By the time she reached the door, her hands were cold with sweat. She knocked. Come in. Principal Marcus Harrison was a large man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had been running Jefferson High for over 20 years, and it showed in every line of his face. His office was cluttered with awards and trophies and photographs of smiling students. Most of the students in the photographs were white. Sit down, Miss Mitchell. Zora sat. Her back was straight. Her hands were folded in her lap. She had learned long ago how to look calm when she was terrified. Harrison studied her for a moment. Then he leaned forward. I understand you witnessed an incident in the courtyard this morning. An altercation involving Miss Imani Carter and several male students. Yes, sir. Tell me what you saw. Zora hesitated. This was a trap. It had to be a trap. Derek's father sat on the school board. His mother ran the PTA. If Zora told the truth, they would destroy her. They would destroy her family. But she thought about Imani's face, the blood, the broken bracelet, the refusal to surrender. She thought about her father. I saw Derek Holloway and his friends assault a student, she said. Her voice was steady, even though her heart was pounding. They called her racist names. They threw her on the ground. They hurt her, and nobody stopped them. Harrison's expression did not change. That is a very serious accusation. It is a very serious crime. The word hung in the air. Crime. Not incident. Not altercation. Crime. Harrison leaned back in his chair. His eyes were unreadable. Miss Carter has already been to see me. She gave a similar account. However, the other students I spoke with tell a different story. They say Miss Carter was being disruptive, that she provoked the confrontation, that Derek and his friends were simply defending themselves. Zora felt something cold and hard settle in her chest. That is a lie. Watch your tone, Miss Mitchell. With all respect, sir, I know what I saw. That girl did not provoke anything. She was attacked because she is black and because she refused to bow down when they tried to humiliate her. That is the truth, whether you want to hear it or not. Harrison's eyes narrowed. For a moment, Zora thought he was going to yell at her. Instead, he sighed. This school has a zero-tolerance policy for racism, Miss Mitchell. We take these matters very seriously. Then do something about it. Without concrete evidence, there is not much I can do. It is your word against theirs. There were 50 witnesses. Witnesses who tell different stories. And frankly, Miss Mitchell, the Holloway family, has been very generous to this school. Very generous indeed. Their donations funded the new gymnasium, the new computer lab, the scholarships that help students like yourself attend college. Zora stared at him. She could not believe what she was hearing. Actually, that was not true. She could believe it. She had always known it. She just had not wanted to admit it. So money matters more than justice, she said flatly. Rich white boys can assault black girls, and nothing happens because their daddies write big checks. I would be very careful about making accusations like that, Miss Mitchell. Very careful indeed. The threat was clear. Zora heard it loud and clear. She stood up. Is that all, sir? Harrison nodded. That is all. You may go. And Miss Mitchell, I would advise you to stay out of this matter. Focus on your studies. Do not involve yourself in situations that do not concern you. Do not concern you. A black girl was attacked in broad daylight, and it did not concern her. Zora walked out of the office without another word. Her hands were shaking, but not from fear anymore. From rage. She was halfway down the hallway when she heard the scream. It was muffled, like someone had clamped a hand over someone's mouth, but Zora recognized the voice immediately. Imani. She ran. She rounded the corner near the gymnasium, and her worst fears came true. Derek had Imani pinned against the wall. His forearm was pressed against her throat. Tyler stood on one side, Jake on the other. They had her trapped. Thought we taught you a lesson this morning, Derek was saying. His voice was low and dangerous. Thought we made it clear how things work around here, but apparently you are too stupid to understand. Imani's face was turning red. She was struggling to breathe, but her eyes were still defiant. Let go. Or what? You going to cry to the principal again? That was a nice try, by the way. Very cute. But Harrison knows which side his bread is buttered on. Nobody is coming to save you, Chicago. You are all alone. Tyler laughed. Jake pulled out his phone to record, and something inside Zora exploded. 2 years of silence. 2 years of keeping her head down. 2 years of watching evil and doing nothing. 2 years of betraying everything her father had taught her. It all came roaring up from somewhere deep inside a hurricane of fury that swept away every fear, every doubt, every whisper of caution. She stepped forward. Her voice came out like thunder. Get your hands off her right now! Derek turned, eyebrows raised. When he saw who it was, he actually laughed. Well, 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 look who finally grew a spine. The invisible girl decides to be seen. I said let her go. Tyler lowered his phone slightly. Or what? What are you going to do, ghost girl? Nobody cares about you. Nobody even knows you exist. Let her go. Derek looked at her with genuine amusement, like she was a puppy that had learned a new trick. This is adorable, really. But here is the thing, sweetheart. You do not matter. Your opinion does not matter. Your threats do not matter. You are nothing. Just like your friend here. Just like every other black girl who thinks she can come into my school and disrespect me. This is not your school, Zora said. This school belongs to everyone, and what you are doing right now is assault. It is a crime, and I am not going to let you get away with it. Derek's smile faded slightly. What are you going to do? Run to Harrison again. We both know how that worked out. No, I am not going to Harrison. Zora pulled out her phone. I am calling the police. The atmosphere shifted immediately. Jake stopped recording. Tyler took a step back. Even Derek's grip on Imani loosened slightly. You are bluffing, Derek said. But there was uncertainty in his voice now. Try me. Zora's thumb hovered over the screen. Assault is a felony in Tennessee. You are 18 years old, Derek. That means adult court. Real charges. Real consequences. No more football. No more Alabama. No more future. All because you could not keep your hands to yourself. Derek stared at her. His jaw was tight. His eyes were calculating. My father will destroy you, he said quietly. He will destroy your entire family. Your mother will lose her job. Your brother will be expelled from his school. You will never graduate. You will never go to college. You will spend the rest of your life cleaning toilets, just like your mother. Maybe, Zora said, but you will spend the rest of your life as a convicted felon. Worth it. The silence stretched between them like a wire about to snap. Then a new voice cut through the tension. What exactly is going on here? Everyone turned. Coach Diane Freeman stood at the end of the hallway. She was the track and field coach, one of only 3 black teachers at Jefferson High. She was in her 50s with gray streaks in her natural hair and eyes that had seen everything. I asked a question, she said. What is going on? Derek released Imani immediately. She slumped against the wall, gasping for breath. Nothing, Coach, Derek said smoothly. Just having a conversation. A conversation that requires you to pin a girl against the wall. She was being hysterical. I was trying to calm her down. Coach Freeman looked at Imani, then at Zora, then back at Derek. Get out of here, she said. All 3 of you, now. Derek held her gaze for a moment. Something passed between them. Something that looked like mutual understanding and mutual hatred. Then he walked away. Tyler and Jake followed. When they were gone, Coach Freeman turned to the girls. Are you all right? She asked Imani. Imani nodded. Her voice was hoarse. Yes, ma'am. And you? She looked at Zora. You realize you just made some very powerful enemies. Yes, ma'am. Coach Freeman studied her for a long moment. There was something in her eyes that looked almost like respect. Come with me, she said. Both of you. We need to talk. She led them to her office in the athletic building. It was small and cluttered with trophies and track equipment. She closed the door behind them and gestured for them to sit. What happened this morning? She said. In the courtyard. I saw it. Zora and Imani exchanged glances. You saw it? Zora asked. I was in my car in the parking lot. I saw the whole thing through my windshield. Then why did you not help? Imani asked. There was anger in her voice. Betrayal. Coach Freeman's face tightened. Because I am a 53-year-old black woman working at a school run by people who would love an excuse to fire me. Because I have a mortgage and medical bills and a mother in a nursing home. Because if I had intervened, Derek's father would have had me terminated before lunch. She paused. I am not proud of it, but that is the truth. Zora felt the anger drain out of her. She understood. She understood better than she wanted to. So what are you going to do now? She asked. Coach Freeman reached into her desk drawer and pulled out a flash drive. This school has security cameras everywhere. Official policy is that the footage is deleted after 30 days. But I have been making copies for years. Every incident I have witnessed, every assault, every cover-up, I have all of it. She held up the flash drive, including what happened this morning. Imani leaned forward. You have it on video. Clear as day, Derek grabbing you, throwing you down. Everything. Then why have you not used it? Zora asked. Because one video is not enough. Derek's father would claim it was edited, doctored, taken out of context. He has the money to hire lawyers who could make the sky look green in court. One video would just get me fired and nothing would change. Then what do you need? Coach Freeman looked at both of them. I need a pattern. I need multiple incidents. I need witnesses willing to testify. I need parents willing to go public. I need a story so big and so undeniable that even the school board cannot sweep it under the rug. She leaned forward. I have been waiting 2 years for the right moment. 2 years of watching and collecting evidence and biding my time. And today, for the first time, I saw something that made me think the moment might finally be here. What did you see? Amani asked. Coach Freeman looked at Zora. I saw a girl who had been invisible for 2 years suddenly stand up and fight. I saw courage I have not seen in this school for a very long time. Zora felt heat rise to her cheeks. I did not do anything special. I just could not stay silent anymore. That is exactly what is special about it. You had every reason to stay quiet, every reason to protect yourself, but you did not. You stood up anyway. Coach Freeman stood up and walked to the window. This school is rotten, girls. Rotten from the top down. The people who run it care more about money and power than about justice or equality. They will protect their own at any cost. They will crush anyone who threatens their way of life. She turned back to face them. But rot can be exposed. Darkness can be brought into light. And sometimes all it takes is a few people brave enough to strike the match. She held out the flash drive. I cannot do this alone. I need help. I need people willing to take risks. People willing to fight. She looked at Zora. Are you willing? Zora thought about her mother, her brother, all the reasons she had stayed invisible for so long. Then she thought about Amani on the ground, blood soaking through her jeans, nobody moving to help. She thought about her father. Yes, she said, I am willing. Coach Freeman turned to Amani. And you? Imani's jaw was set. Her eyes were hard. They broke my grandmother's bracelet. She gave it to me before she died. It was the only thing I had left of her. Her voice cracked slightly, then steadied. I am not going to let them get away with it. I am in. Coach Freeman nodded slowly. Then we have work to do. But not here, not now. They are already watching. Derek knows you stood up to him, and that means his father knows. They will be looking for any excuse to take you down. She handed the flash drive to Zora. Keep this safe. Do not tell anyone you have it. Do not talk about it at school. Do not text about it. Do not post about it. Do not even think about it too loudly. These people have ears everywhere. When do we meet again? Zora asked. Friday. My house. I will give you the address tomorrow. She walked to the door and opened it. Now go, both of you. Go home and act normal. Pretend nothing happened. Zora and Amani stood up. They walked to the door. Girls, Coach Freeman said. They turned. What you did today took courage, real courage. But courage is just the beginning. What comes next will be harder, much harder. Are you sure you are ready? Zora and Amani looked at each other. Something passed between them. Understanding, solidarity, determination. We are ready, Zora said. Coach Freeman nodded. Then God help us all. Zora walked home alone that evening. The sun was setting over Memphis, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. It would have been beautiful if she had been able to appreciate it. Her mind was racing. Everything had changed in a single day. This morning she had been invisible. Now she was part of a conspiracy to take down the most powerful family in town. What had she gotten herself into? She was passing the abandoned textile mill when she heard footsteps behind her. She turned. Tyler Beaumont was standing there, alone, his hands in his pockets, his face expressionless. Hello, Zora, he said. Zora's blood ran cold. What do you want? Just to talk. Derek wanted me to deliver a message. I do not want to hear it. You should, for your sake, and for your family's sake. He took a step closer. Derek is not stupid. He knows you are planning something. He knows Coach Freeman gave you something. He does not know what it is yet, but he will find out. He always finds out. Is that supposed to scare me? It should. Derek's father is not someone you want as an enemy. He can make people disappear, Not literally, but effectively. Jobs lost, homes foreclosed, families destroyed. It has happened before. It will happen again. Tyler's voice was calm, almost friendly. That made it worse. Walk away, Zora. Whatever you are planning, drop it. Go back to being invisible. Graduate. Leave Memphis. Never look back. That is the smart play. Zora's hands were shaking, but not from fear. And if I do not? Tyler smiled. It did not reach his eyes. Then things will get very unpleasant. For you, for your mother, for that little brother of yours. What is his name again, Marcus? The one with the stutter? Zora's vision went red. Do not you dare. I am not threatening anyone, Tyler said smoothly. I am just pointing out that actions have consequences. Derek has a long memory and a short temper. You do not want to be on his bad side. He started walking away. Then he stopped and turned back. Oh, and one more thing. That girl, Imani, she is not worth it. She is nobody. A scholarship case from the ghetto. She will be gone in a year. Is she really worth destroying your life over? He walked away into the gathering darkness. Zora stood there for a long time, her heart pounding, her mind spinning. Then she pulled out her phone and called Imani. We have a problem, she said. What kind of problem? Zora told her about Tyler, about the threat, about the mention of Marcus. There was silence on the other end. Then Imani spoke. So they know we are up to something. Yes. And they are trying to scare us off. Yes. Another pause. Is it working? Zora thought about her father, about the marches and the beatings and the dogs and the fire hoses, about all the times he could have walked away and did not. No, she said. It is not working. Good. Then we keep going. They mentioned my brother Imani. They know about Marcus. I know. They mentioned my mother to me an hour ago. Jake came to our apartment. Zora's blood went cold. What? He did not do anything. Just stood in the hallway and stared at our door until my mother called the super. By the time he came, Jake was gone. But the message was clear. We should go to the police. And tell them what? That some boys looked at us. That is not a crime. They know exactly what they are doing. They are scaring us without leaving any evidence. Zora pressed her hand against her forehead. What do? We do what Coach Freeman said. We act normal. We gather evidence. We wait for the right moment. And when that moment comes, we burn them down. Her voice was hard, cold, full of a fury that matched Zora's own. They want to play games. Fine, let us play. But they are going to lose. They just do not know it yet. Zora took a deep breath. Okay, she said. Okay, we keep going. We keep going. I will see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. She hung up and stood there in the fading light. The abandoned mill loomed behind her, dark and silent. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barked. Zora Mitchell had spent 2 years being invisible. 2 years being safe. 2 years betraying everything her father had believed in. That was over now. The war had begun, and she was going to win. Zora did not sleep that night. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, the flash drive clutched in her hand like a weapon. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Tyler's face. That empty smile. The casual way he had mentioned Marcus's name. At 3 in the morning, she heard her mother come home. The front door creaked. Footsteps shuffled toward the kitchen. The refrigerator opened and closed. Then silence. Zora got out of bed and walked down the hallway. Lorraine Mitchell was sitting at the kitchen table in her hotel uniform, her head in her hands. She looked exhausted. She looked broken. She looked like a woman who had been carrying the weight of the world for 2 years and was finally starting to collapse under it. Mama. Lorraine looked up. Her eyes were red. "Baby, what are you doing up? You have school tomorrow." I could not sleep. Zora sat down across from her. "Mama, I need to tell you something." Lorraine's face tightened with worry. "What is it? What happened?" Zora took a deep breath. She had been planning to keep everything secret. Coach Freeman had told her not to tell anyone. But looking at her mother, now seeing the fear already in her eyes, she knew she could not lie. Not to her. Not about this. "There is a girl at school. Her name is Imani. She just moved here from Chicago. Some boys attacked her today. They hurt her bad, and I stood up for her." Lorraine's hands started trembling. "Zora, no. Tell me you did not get involved." "I had to, Mama. They were choking her. They were going to hurt her worse. I could not just stand there and watch." "Yes, you could. Yes, you could, Zora. That is exactly what you should have done." Lorraine's voice cracked. "Do you have any idea what those people can do to us, the Holloways? The Beaumonts? They own this town. They own the police. They own the schools. They own everything." "I know, Mama." "Then why would you put yourself in danger? Why would you put this family in danger?" Zora felt tears burning in her eyes. "Because Daddy would have wanted me to." The words hung in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. Lorraine's face crumpled. For a moment she looked like she was going to cry. Then her expression hardened. "Your daddy is dead, Zora. His courage killed him. His principles killed him. He spent his whole life fighting for what was right, and where did it get him? A broken body on a factory floor. A widow working double shifts. 2 children growing up without a father. That is not fair. Life is not fair. That is the whole point. You think standing up to those boys is going to change anything. You think justice is going to suddenly appear because one teenage girl decided to be brave. It does not work that way. Not in this town. Not anywhere." Zora wiped her eyes. "So what am I supposed to do? Watch them hurt people and do nothing? Be a coward for the rest of my life?" "I am asking you to be smart. I am asking you to survive. I am asking you to think about your brother who needs you, to think about me who cannot lose another person I love." "And what about Imani? What about all the other kids they have hurt? Do they not matter?" Lorraine slammed her hand on the table. "Of course they matter, but you matter more. To me, you matter more than anyone else in this world. And I will not watch you throw your life away for some girl you just met." They stared at each other across the table. Mother and daughter. Fear and courage. The past and the future. Finally, Zora spoke. Her voice was quiet but steady. "Daddy used to tell me that courage is deciding that something matters more than your fear. He said the moments when you have to choose define who you are. He said actions matter, not words. Your father was an idealist. My father was a hero." Lorraine's eyes filled with tears. "Your father was a fool who got himself killed because he could not keep his head down. And every day, every single day, I am terrified that you are going to do the same thing." She reached across the table and grabbed Zora's hands. "Please, baby. Please. Just let this go. Graduate. Go to college. Get out of Memphis. Have a life. That is all I want. That is all I have ever wanted." Zora looked at her mother's hands. Rough from years of scrubbing. Cracked from chemicals. Trembling with fear. She loved her mother more than anything in the world. She understood her fear. She shared it. But she could not do what she was asking. "I am sorry, Mama," she said softly. "I cannot let this go. I cannot be invisible anymore. Not after what I saw. Not after what they did." She stood up from the table. "They threatened Marcus today. One of the boys came up to me after school and said they know about him. They know where he goes to school. They know about his stutter." Lorraine's face went pale. "What?" "They are trying to scare me into backing down. But if I back down now, they win. And if they win, they will just keep hurting people. Imani today, someone else tomorrow, maybe Marcus, maybe someone else's little brother. She walked to the door, then turned back. Daddy did not die because he was brave. He died because the company he worked for cared more about profits than safety. He died because the people in charge did not value his life. That is the same thing that is happening at my school. The people in charge do not care about black students. They protect the bullies because their families have money. Her voice hardened. I am not going to let them get away with it. Not anymore. She walked back to her room and closed the door. Behind her, she heard her mother start to cry. Tuesday morning, 6:47 a.m. Zora was up before her alarm. She had not slept more than an hour. Her eyes burned. Her head ached. But her mind was clear. She checked on Marcus before leaving. He was still asleep, his face peaceful, his breathing slow and steady. She watched him for a moment. This boy she had helped raise. This boy she would do anything to protect. Tyler's voice echoed in her head. What is his name again? Marcus? The one with the stutter. Her hands clenched into fists. She would burn the whole school down before she let them touch her brother. She left the house early before her mother woke up. She could not face another conversation. Not yet. She needed to think. She needed to plan. The walk to school felt different today. The abandoned mill looked smaller somehow, less menacing, like it was just a building instead of a monument to tragedy. She was almost at the school when her phone buzzed. It was Imani. Meet me at the oak tree. Now. Something happened. Zora's heart started pounding. She broke into a run. She found Imani sitting under the tree, her face swollen. Her lip was split. There was a bruise forming around her left eye. Oh my God! Zora dropped to her knees beside her. What happened? Who did this? Imani looked up. Her eyes were dry, but her voice shook. Someone broke into our apartment last night. My mother and I were sleeping. We heard glass breaking. By the time we got to the living room, they were gone. But they left a message. What message? Imani held up her phone. On the screen was a photo of her apartment wall. Someone had spray-painted 3 words in red. Go home, Nakor. Zora felt the blood drain from her face. Did you call the police? Imani laughed bitterly. The police? In this town. Derek's uncle is the chief of police. Jake's grandfather was the mayor. You think they are going to help us? Then how did you get hurt, the break-in? Imani shook her head. That was this morning. I was walking to school. A car pulled up beside me. Someone threw something. A bottle. It hit me in the face. She pointed to her eye. They yelled something as they drove away. I could not hear it all, but I heard the word Chicago, and I heard them laughing. Zora sat down beside her. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Imani said something that made Zora's blood run cold. My mother wants to leave. She says it is not safe here. She says we should go back to Chicago. Go back to your father. She does not know what else to do. She is scared. I have never seen her this scared. Zora grabbed Imani's hand. You cannot leave. If you leave, they win. That is exactly what they want. I know. But what choice do we have? They know where we live. They can get to us whenever they want. And nobody is going to help us. Coach Freeman will help. She has evidence. She has a plan. A plan that takes time. Time we might not have. Imani's voice cracked. Zora. They came into our home. They stood in our living room while we were sleeping. Do you understand what that means? They could have done anything. They could have hurt us. They could have killed us. Zora did not have an answer. She did not have words of comfort. All she had was fear and rage and a desperate determination not to let these people win. We need to talk to Coach Freeman, she finally said. Today, right now. We cannot wait until Friday. She said to act normal. She said they are watching. They are already attacking us. Normal is not an option anymore. Imani was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded. Okay, let us find her. They found Coach Freeman in her office grading papers. She looked up when they walked in, and her face changed immediately. Close the door, she said. Zora closed it. What happened to your face, Imani? Imani told her everything. The break-in, the spray paint, the bottle thrown from the car, her mother wanting to leave. Coach Freeman listened without interrupting. When Imani finished, she was quiet for a long time. Then she said something that surprised both of them. Good. Zora stared at her. Good. How is any of this good? Because they are scared. Coach Freeman leaned forward. Think about it. Yesterday, Zora stood up to Derek in front of witnesses. She threatened to call the police. She mentioned security cameras. She made them nervous. So they attacked Imani's home as revenge. No, they attacked because they are trying to scare you into silence. That means they are worried. They know something has changed. They know they cannot control this situation the way they used to. She stood up and walked to her filing cabinet. I was planning to wait until Friday, but you are right. We cannot wait anymore. Things are escalating too fast. She pulled out a thick folder and dropped it on the desk. This is everything I have collected over the past 2 years. Incident reports that were buried. Witness statements that were ignored. Medical records from students who were hurt and never got justice. And video footage. Lots of video footage. Zora picked up the folder. It was heavy. There had to be at least 100 pages inside. This is not just about Derek, she said slowly. No. Derek is just the latest in a long line. His older brother was the same way. His father was the same way when he was in school. This is a pattern, a system. Generation after generation of powerful white families hurting black students and getting away with it. Imani was flipping through the pages. Her face had gone pale. There are so many names here, so many incidents. Why did nobody ever do anything? Because nobody had enough evidence. Because the victims were too scared to come forward. Because the school board is controlled by the same families who are causing the problem. Coach Freeman's voice was heavy with years of frustration. I have been waiting for the right moment, the right case, the right people. She looked at Zora. I think you might be those people. What do you mean? I mean, you have something the others did not have. Courage, and stubbornness, and a willingness to fight even when you are scared. She took the folder back and pulled out a single sheet of paper. This is a list of every student who has been victimized by Derek and his friends over the past 3 years. 12 names. Some of them have graduated. Some of them moved away. Some of them are still here, still afraid, still silent. You want us to contact them, Zora said. I want you to give them a choice, a chance to tell their stories, a chance to finally be heard. And if they say no, then we respect their decision. But I think some of them will say yes. I think they have been waiting for someone to ask. Imani looked at the list. How do we even find these people? I will help you. I have contact information for most of them. But it has to be done carefully, quietly. If Derek's family finds out what we are doing, they will try to stop us. They are already trying to stop us, Zora said. Which is why we need to move fast. Coach Freeman pulled out another piece of paper. This is the contact information for a reporter at the Memphis Commercial Appeal. Her name is Sandra Williams. She has been trying to write a story about racism in Shelby County schools for years. She just needs sources, evidence, people willing to go on record. You want us to go to the press? Not yet. First, we gather testimonies. Then we present everything to Sandra. If she thinks there is enough for a story, she will run it. And once it is public, once everyone knows, the school board will have no choice but to act. Zora felt something shift inside her. This was real. This was actually happening. "What about Imani's family?" she asked. "They are in danger. We cannot just leave them unprotected." Coach Freeman nodded. "I have been thinking about that. I have a friend who runs a women's shelter on the other side of town. Imani, I think your mother should stay there for a few days, just until things calm down." Imani shook her head. "She will never agree to that. She will say we are overreacting. Then we need to convince her. Show her the evidence. Show her what these people are capable of." Coach Freeman's voice softened. "I know this is hard. I know it feels like everything is falling apart. But we are close. Closer than we have ever been. We just need to hold on a little longer." The bell rang. First period was starting. "Go to class," Coach Freeman said. "Act normal. Do not talk about this with anyone. I will reach out to the people on the list and set up meetings. We will talk again tomorrow." Zora and Imani walked out of the office. The hallway was crowded with students rushing to class. Everything looked normal. Everything felt wrong. "Do you believe her?" Imani asked quietly. "Do you think this plan will actually work?" Zora thought about the folder, the names, the years of evidence. "I do not know," she admitted, "but it is the only plan we have." They split up at the stairwell. Imani went to her first period class. Zora went to hers. She was almost at the door when someone grabbed her arm. She spun around, fists raised, heart pounding. It was a girl she did not recognize. Small, dark-skinned, maybe 14 or 15 years old. She looked terrified. "You are Zora Mitchell, right? The one who stood up to Derek." Zora lowered her fists slowly. "Yes. Who are you?" "My name is Keisha. Keisha Brown." The girl's voice was barely a whisper. "I heard what you did yesterday. Everyone is talking about it." "Okay. I need to talk to you about Derek, about what he did to my sister." Zora's stomach dropped. "Your sister?" "Her name was Destiny. She was a student here 2 years ago. She killed herself last spring." The words hit Zora like a physical blow. "What do you mean? What does Derek have to do with it?" Keisha's eyes filled with tears. "Everything. He has everything to do with it. And I can prove it." Tuesday, 11:43 a.m. Zora sat across from Keisha in the far corner of the library. They were hidden behind tall bookshelves away from prying eyes. Keisha's hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold her phone. "Destiny was a junior," Keisha said, her voice barely above a whisper. "She was smart, beautiful. She wanted to be a doctor. She had a scholarship lined up to Vanderbilt." "What happened?" "Derek happened." Keisha's jaw tightened. "He asked her out at the beginning of junior year. She said no. She had a boyfriend. She was not interested." "He did not take no for an answer." "No, he did not." Keisha unlocked her phone and pulled up a folder of screenshots. It started with texts, calling her names, saying she thought she was too good for him. Then it got worse. He started spreading rumors about her, saying she was sleeping with teachers, saying she had diseases. She handed the phone to Zora. The screenshots showed message after message of vile harassment, racist slurs, sexual threats, descriptions of violence so graphic that Zora felt sick reading them. "She reported it to the school," Keisha continued. "Multiple times. They did nothing. They said there was no proof the messages came from Derek. They said she was probably exaggerating for attention. But these messages clearly show his name. He said his phone was hacked. His father backed him up. The school believed them." Zora kept scrolling. The messages got worse, more threatening, more specific. Did anyone else know about this? Everyone knew. The whole school knew. But nobody would back her up. They were all too scared of Derek's family. Even her boyfriend broke up with her because he did not want the drama. Keisha wiped her eyes. She tried to transfer schools. The other school in the district would not take her because Derek's mother made some phone calls. She tried to do online school, but my mother could not afford the tuition. She was trapped. Everywhere she went, he was there. Every day, the harassment got worse. And the school just let it happen. Principal Harrison told her she needed to stop causing trouble. He said if she kept making accusations, it would go on her permanent record and affect her college applications. Zora felt rage building in her chest. White hot. Blinding. When did she... She could not finish the sentence. April 15th, last year. Keisha's voice broke. She walked into traffic on Union Avenue. The driver said she just stepped out in front of him, like she had given up. Tears were streaming down her face now. They ruled it an accident. Derek's family made sure of that. No investigation. No accountability. Just another dead black girl nobody cared about. Zora sat frozen. She did not know what to say. There were no words for this kind of horror. I have been waiting, Keisha said. Waiting for someone brave enough to fight them. When I heard what you did yesterday, I knew you were the one. She grabbed Zora's hand. Please, help me get justice for my sister. Help me make sure Derek never does this to anyone else. Zora looked at this girl, 14 years old, carrying a grief no child should have to carry, asking for something that might be impossible. She thought about her father, about courage, about moments that define who you are. I will help you, she said. I promise. Tuesday, 2:15 p.m. Zora found Coach Freeman during her free period and told her about Keisha, about Destiny, about the screenshots. Coach Freeman's face went pale. Destiny Brown. I remember her. She was on my track team freshman year. Fastest sprinter I had ever seen. You knew about the harassment. I suspected, but I could never prove anything. By the time I started asking questions, she had already withdrawn from school activities. She stopped talking to everyone. Her sister has proof. Months of messages, screenshots with timestamps. Coach Freeman closed her eyes. When she opened them again, they were wet. This changes everything. This is not just bullying anymore. This is a pattern of behavior that led to a suicide. If we can connect Derek to Destiny's death, the school cannot ignore it. The press cannot ignore it. Keisha wants to go public. She wants justice. She needs to understand what that means. Once she comes forward, there is no going back. Derek's family will come after her. They will try to discredit her. They will make her life miserable. Her life is already miserable. Her sister is dead. Coach Freeman nodded slowly. Then we need to move faster than I thought. I will contact Sandra Williams today, and I want you to reach out to the names on that list. See who is willing to talk. What about protection? Keisha is just a kid. Imani's family is being threatened. This is getting dangerous. I know. Coach Freeman picked up her phone. I am going to make some calls. There are people in this community who have been waiting for a chance to fight back. Churches, activist groups, organizations that support victims. It is time to bring them in. Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Zora walked home in the fading light. Her mind was spinning. Destiny Brown, Keisha, the screenshots, the pattern. It was all connected. Years and years of abuse covered up by money and power. She was so lost in thought that she almost did not notice the car following her. It was a black SUV with tinted windows. It had been behind her for 3 blocks, now moving slowly, matching her pace. Her heart started racing. She pulled out her phone and pretended to make a call while speeding up her pace. The SUV sped up too, 2 more blocks to home. She could see her street up ahead. The SUV pulled up beside her. The passenger window rolled down. Derek Holloway leaned out smiling. Hey there, Zora. Nice evening for a walk, is it not? Zora kept walking, did not look at him, did not respond. I heard you have been asking questions, talking to people. stirring up trouble. His voice was casual, friendly, terrifying. I just wanted to give you some friendly advice. Stop. She kept walking. You think you are being brave. You think you are doing something noble. But all you are doing is making things worse. For yourself, for your family, for everyone you care about. She was almost at her street now. I know about your mother, Zora. I know she works at the Peabody. My father plays golf with the general manager every Sunday. One phone call and she loses her job. One phone call and your family ends up on the street. Zora stopped walking. She turned to face him. Is that supposed to scare me? Derek's smile widened. It should. It does not. She stepped closer to the car, close enough to see the surprise flicker in his eyes. You think you are powerful. You think your money and your connections make you untouchable. But you are wrong. There are things coming that you cannot buy your way out of, secrets that are about to come to light. Derek's smile faded slightly. What secrets? Ask Destiny Brown. Zora watched his face carefully. Oh wait, you cannot. She is dead. Something changed in Derek's expression, just for a second. A flash of something that might have been fear. Then it was gone. I do not know what you are talking about. Yes, you do. And soon everyone else will too. She turned and walked away. This is not over, Zora. Derek called after her. This is just beginning. She did not look back, but her hands were shaking, and in her pocket the flash drive felt like a grenade waiting to explode. Tuesday, 7:45 p.m. Zora burst through her front door, her heart still pounding from the encounter with Derek. Her mother was standing in the kitchen, phone pressed to her ear, face pale as chalk. Yes, I understand. Thank you for calling. She hung up and turned to face Zora. Her eyes were hollow. That was my supervisor at the hotel. I have been let go. The words did not register at first. Zora stood frozen in the doorway. What? Fired. Effective immediately. They said there were budget cuts. They said they had to make difficult decisions. Lorraine's voice cracked. But I know the truth. I have worked there for 11 years. Never missed a day. Never had a single complaint. And suddenly, there are budget cuts. Zora felt the ground shifting beneath her feet. Derek's words echoed in her head. One phone call, and she loses her job. He had done it. He had actually done it. Mama, I am so sorry. This is my fault. This is because of what I did. Lorraine held up her hand. Stop. Do not say that. But it is true. Derek threatened me today. He said his father knows the general manager. He said one phone call and you would be fired. I know. You know. Lorraine walked to the table and sat down heavily. She looked 10 years older than she had that morning. I know because I got another call before that one. From a man who did not give his name. He said if you keep causing trouble, things will get worse. He said this is just the beginning. Zora's blood ran cold. They called you directly. They want us to know they can reach us. They want us scared. Are you... Lorraine looked at her daughter for a long moment. Then something changed in her eyes. Something Zora had not seen in years. I was scared this morning. I was scared when you told me what happened. I was ready to beg you to stop, to give up, to keep your head down like I always told you. She stood up and walked to the window. But then I lost my job anyway. I did everything right. I kept my head down for 11 years, and they still took everything from me with one phone call. She turned back to face Zora. Your father used to say that you cannot negotiate with bullies. You cannot appease them. The only thing they understand is strength. Her voice hardened. I think it is time I remembered that. Zora stared at her mother. What are you saying? I am saying that if they want a fight, they are going to get one. I am saying that I am done being scared. I am saying that whatever you need me to do, I will do it." For the first time in 2 years, Zora saw her mother standing tall, not broken, not defeated, angry. "They made a mistake," Lorraine said quietly. "They thought firing me would make us back down. Instead, they just made me realize I have nothing left to lose." Wednesday, 6:15 a.m. Zora's phone buzzed before sunrise. It was Coach Freeman. "Emergency meeting, my office, 7 o'clock. Bring Imani." She texted Imani immediately. 20 minutes later, they met at the corner near the school and walked together in silence. The morning air was thick with humidity and tension. Coach Freeman was waiting for them with the door already open. Her face was grave. "Sit down. We have a problem." "What kind of problem?" Imani asked. "I reached out to Sandra Williams last night, the reporter. She was interested. Very interested. She said this could be the story of the year." "That sounds like good news," Zora said. "It was, until this morning." Coach Freeman slid a piece of paper across her desk. "This was taped to my car windshield when I came to work." Zora picked up the paper. It was a photograph. A photograph of Coach Freeman's elderly mother sitting in a wheelchair at her nursing home. Someone had drawn a red X across her face. "Oh my God," Imani whispered. "They know," Coach Freeman said. "They know I am involved. They know about my mother. How we have been so careful. Not careful enough. Someone is watching us. Someone is feeding them information." Zora's mind raced. Could it be a student? Someone who saw us meeting? Possibly. Or it could be someone on the staff. The Holloway family has connections everywhere. They could have people inside this school that I do not even know about. So what do we do? Coach Freeman was quiet for a moment. Then she pulled out her phone. "I called Sandra Williams again this morning. Told her about the threat." "You know what she said?" "What?" "She said that means we are getting close. She said powerful people do not threaten nobodies. They threaten people who can actually hurt them." She looked at both girls. "Sandra wants to meet with us, today. She wants to see the evidence, all of it." "Is that safe?" Imani asked. "After what just happened?" "No, it is not safe. Nothing about this is safe anymore." Coach Freeman's voice was steady. "But Sandra made a good point. The longer we wait, the more time they have to find ways to stop us. We need to move fast, today." "Where does she want to meet?" "Her office downtown, 3 o'clock, right after school." Zora looked at Imani. Imani looked back. "We will be there," Zora said. Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. Second period had just ended when Zora's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Check the bathroom. 3rd floor, now." She showed the message to Imani. "It could be a trap," Imani said, "or it could be someone with information." "How would they even know your number?" Zora did not have an answer, but something told her this was important. "Wait here. If I am not back in 10 minutes, find Coach Freeman." "Zora, this is crazy." "Probably, but so is everything else we are doing." She walked to the 3rd floor bathroom, her heart pounding with every step. The hallway was empty. Everyone was in class. She pushed open the bathroom door. Keisha Brown was standing by the sinks, her face streaked with tears. "Keisha, what is wrong? Why did you text me from a different number?" "They took my phone, this morning. Jake Rawlings grabbed it out of my hands in the hallway and ran off with it." "What?" "He said he wanted to see what I had been sending people. He said he knew I had been talking to you." Zora's stomach dropped. "The screenshots, the messages from Destiny. Were they on your phone?" Keisha nodded, tears flowing faster. "I had copies. I thought they were safe. I thought if I kept them on my phone, I could show people. But now, he has everything." "Did you have backups, cloud storage, anything?" Keisha shook her head. My family cannot afford that stuff. That phone was everything. Zora felt the walls closing in. The evidence. Their best evidence against Derek. Gone. Hey! She grabbed Keisha's shoulders. Look at me. This is not over. We still have Coach Freeman's files. We still have witness testimonies. This is a setback, not the end. But without the screenshots, it is just my word against his. Nobody will believe me. I believe you. Imani believes you. Coach Freeman believes you. And there are others, other victims, other witnesses. We are going to find them. We are going to build a case so strong that even the Holloway family cannot destroy it. Keisha wiped her eyes. How do you know? How do you know any of this will work? Zora did not know. She had no guarantees. She had nothing but faith and fury. Because my father taught me that the truth has power. They can steal phones. They can threaten families. They can fire people from their jobs. But they cannot kill the truth. Not forever. She pulled Keisha into a hug. We are going to get justice for Destiny. I promise you. Wednesday, 12:15 p.m. Lunch period. Zora, Imani, and Keisha sat in Coach Freeman's office with the door locked. The mood was grim. Jake has the screenshots, Zora explained. He took Keisha's phone this morning. Coach Freeman's face tightened. That is exactly why I told you to be careful, to keep everything hidden. I know. I am sorry. I should have warned her. It is not your fault, Keisha said quietly. I should have been smarter. Destiny would have been smarter. Stop. Coach Freeman's voice was firm. We do not have time for blame. What is done is done. Now we figure out how to move forward. What about the meeting with Sandra? Imani asked. Should we cancel it? No. If anything, this makes the meeting more urgent. Jake has the phone, which means Derek knows exactly what evidence Keisha had. They are going to destroy it. They are going to prepare their defense. We need to go public before they have time to cover their tracks. But without the screenshots, what do we have? Coach Freeman pulled out her folder. We have this. 2 years of documentation. Incident reports, medical records, video footage. It is not as personal as Keisha's evidence, but it establishes a pattern. It shows that Derek has been doing this for years, and the school has been covering it up. She looked at Keisha. And we have you. Your testimony. Your memory. You were there. You lived through it. You watched your sisters suffer and die. That means something. That carries weight. Will Sandra believe me without proof? Sandra is a journalist. She knows how to verify stories. She knows how to find corroboration. And she knows that powerful people destroy evidence all the time. The absence of screenshots does not mean the harassment did not happen. She stood up. 3 o'clock, downtown. Be ready. Wednesday, 2:55 p.m. The final bell rang. Zora grabbed her backpack and headed for the front doors. Imani was waiting for her outside. Keisha was supposed to meet them at the corner. She never showed up. Zora texted her. No response. Called her, straight to voicemail. Something is wrong, Imani said. Maybe she got scared. Maybe she decided not to come. Or maybe they got to her. They waited 5 more minutes. Nothing. We cannot wait any longer, Zora said. Coach Freeman is expecting us. Sandra is expecting us. We cannot just leave Keisha. We do not have a choice. If we miss this meeting, we might not get another chance. Imani hesitated, then nodded. They ran to the bus stop and caught the 310 downtown. Wednesday, 3:35 p.m. The offices of the Memphis Commercial Appeal were on the 12th floor of a glass tower downtown. Coach Freeman was already there waiting in the lobby. Where is Keisha? She did not show, Zora said. We do not know where she is. Coach Freeman's face darkened. That is not good. Should we postpone? No, we are here. Sandra is waiting. We move forward with what we have. They took the elevator up in silence. Sandra Williams met them at the reception desk. She was a black woman in her 40s, with sharp eyes and a firm handshake. "Coach Freeman, good to finally meet in person." She looked at Zora and Imani. "And these are your witnesses." "Two of them. We had a third, but she could not make it." Sandra's eyes narrowed slightly, but she did not comment. "Come with me." She led them to a conference room with glass walls and a long table. There were recording devices set up, notebooks ready, a laptop open. "Before we begin, I need to explain something," Sandra said. "This is an informal interview. Nothing you say here will be published without your explicit consent. I am gathering information, not writing a story. Not yet." "We understand," Coach Freeman said. "Good. Then let us start from the beginning." For the next 2 hours they talked. Coach Freeman laid out the pattern of abuse. She showed Sandra the documentation, the incident reports, the video footage, the medical records. Zora told her story, the attack on Imani, standing up to Derek, the threats against her family, her mother losing her job. Imani told hers. Moving from Chicago, the harassment from day one, the break-in at her apartment, the bottle thrown at her face. Sandra listened carefully, taking notes, asking pointed questions. Her face remained neutral throughout, but Zora could see something building in her eyes. Interest, outrage, determination. When they finished, Sandra sat back in her chair. "This is explosive," she said quietly. "If even half of what you are telling me is true, it could bring down some of the most powerful families in Memphis." "It is all true," Zora said. "I believe you. But believing and proving are two different things. The Holloway family has deep pockets. They will hire the best lawyers in the state. They will attack your credibility. They will claim this is a coordinated smear campaign. So what do? We need more witnesses, more documentation, more voices willing to go on record." Sandra looked at Coach Freeman. "You said there were 12 names on your list. How many have you contacted?" "3 so far, 2 agreed to talk, 1 refused." "We need more. At least 5 or 6 willing to go public, and we need Keisha Brown. Her sister's suicide is the emotional center of this story. Without her testimony, we have a pattern of bullying. With it, we have a tragedy that demands accountability." "We will find her," Zora said. "We will get her back." Sandra studied her face for a long moment. "You are 17 years old. You know that, right? You are a child going up against grown men with unlimited resources. They will try to destroy you. They have already tried? And you are still here." "Yes." Sandra smiled. It was the first time her expression had softened. "Okay, Zora Mitchell. I believe you might actually be able to pull this off." Wednesday, 6:45 p.m. They emerged from the building into the fading daylight. Zora's head was spinning. The meeting had gone better than expected, but Sandra's words haunted her. "We need more. We need Keisha." "I should check on Keisha," she said. "Make sure she is okay." "I will come with you," Imani said. "No, go home. Check on your mother. Make sure nothing has happened." Imani hesitated. "Be careful." "Always." They split up. Zora caught a bus to the south side where Keisha lived with her parents. The house was small, run down with a chain-link fence around a tiny yard. Zora knocked on the front door. A woman answered. Middle-aged, tired eyes wearing a hospital scrub top. "Can I help you?" "I am looking for Keisha. My name is Zora. I go to school with her." The woman's face changed. Fear flickered in her eyes. "Keisha is not here." "Do you know where she is?" "We had a meeting today and she did not show up." "She is not here," the woman repeated. "And I do not think she wants to see you." "Mrs. Brown, please. I am trying to help. I am trying to get justice for Destiny." At the mention of her older daughter's name, something broke in the woman's face. Justice. There is no justice. Not in this town. Not for people like us. I know it feels that way. But we have a reporter now. We have evidence. We have people willing to talk. This is different. Different. Mrs. Brown's voice rose. You know what happened today? A man came to my daughter's school, pulled her out of class, said he was a truant officer. By the time I found out, Keisha was sitting in a police station being questioned about spreading lies about respectable families. Zora felt her blood turn to ice. They arrested her. Not arrested, detained, questioned, intimidated. A 14-year-old girl sitting alone in a room with 2 police officers being told that spreading rumors is a crime, that she could go to juvenile detention, that her parents could be charged with negligence. That is illegal. They cannot do that. They can do whatever they want. Do you not understand that yet? They own the police. They own the courts. They own everything. She started to close the door. Wait. Zora put her hand on the frame. Please, where is Keisha now? She is in her room. She has not stopped crying since she came home. She says she is done. She does not want to fight anymore. She does not want to end up like Destiny. The words hit Zora like a physical blow. Can I talk to her? Just for a minute. Mrs. Brown shook her head. I think you have done enough. Please leave my family alone. She closed the door. Zora stood on the porch, staring at the peeling paint, listening to the distant sound of traffic. They had gotten to Keisha. Broken her. Used the full power of their corrupt system to silence a 14-year-old girl. And now their strongest witness was gone. Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Zora walked home in the darkness. She did not take the bus. She needed time to think. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You were warned. Now watch what happens. 30 seconds later, another text. A photo. Marcus, her brother, walking out of his school that afternoon. The photo was taken from across the street. Someone had been watching him. Zora's hand started shaking so badly she almost dropped the phone. She called her mother immediately. Mama, where is Marcus? He is here, in his room. Why? What is wrong? Do not let him go anywhere. Do not let him out of your sight. Zora, what is happening? They sent me a picture of Marcus. Someone was following him today. Silence on the other end. Then her mother's voice, cold and hard. Come home, now. Zora ran. When she burst through the front door, her mother was standing in the living room holding a baseball bat. Marcus was sitting on the couch looking scared and confused. Zora, what is going on? She crossed the room and wrapped her arms around him. Nothing, buddy. Everything is going to be okay. You are scaring me. I know, I am sorry. But I need you to do something for me. I need you to stay inside for a few days. No walking to school. No going out with friends. Just stay here where it is safe. But why? She pulled back and looked at his face. 12 years old. Innocent. Terrified. Because some bad people are trying to scare our family. But we are not going to let them win. Okay. We are going to be smart, and we are going to be careful, and we are going to stick together. Marcus nodded slowly. Okay, Zora. I trust you. Those 3 words hit her harder than anything else that had happened that day. I trust you. She looked at her mother over Marcus's head. Lorraine's face was set, determined. What do we do? Lorraine asked quietly. We fight back, harder than ever. How? Zora pulled out her phone and dialed Coach Freeman's number. They took Keisha. They threatened Marcus. They are trying to shut us down. I know, Coach Freeman said. They did the same thing to 2 other families on my list today. Police visits. Intimidation tactics. They are going scorched earth. So what do? We go scorched earth too. I am calling Sandra right now. We are moving up the timeline. No more waiting. No more gathering evidence. We go public with what we have. When? Tomorrow. Sandra is going to run the story online tomorrow afternoon. By the time the Holloways find out, it will be too late to stop it. Zora felt something shift inside her. Fear transforming into resolve. Tomorrow, then. Tomorrow. Be ready. Once this story drops, your life is going to change forever. I know. Are you sure you want to do this? Zora looked at her mother standing guard with a baseball bat, at her brother trusting her to keep him safe, at the photo on her phone of Marcus being watched by strangers. I have never been more sure of anything in my life. She hung up the phone. 12 hours. In 12 hours, everything would change. And Derek Holloway would finally learn what it felt like to be afraid. Thursday, 5:47 a.m. Zora had not slept. She sat at the kitchen table staring at her phone, waiting for the sun to rise. Her mother had fallen asleep on the couch around 3, the baseball bat still clutched in her hands. Marcus was in his room door, locked just like Zora had asked. The house was silent. The whole neighborhood was silent. But inside Zora's head, there was a storm. Today was the day. In a few hours, Sandra Williams would publish her story. The secrets would be exposed. The lies would be revealed. And nothing would ever be the same. Her phone buzzed. A text from Coach Freeman. Story goes live at 2 p.m. Stay home from school. Do not answer the door for anyone. I will call you when it is done. Zora typed back a quick confirmation. Then she went to check on Marcus. He was awake, sitting on his bed, staring at the wall. Hey, buddy, how are you feeling? Scared. His stutter was worse than usual. I had nightmares. Zora sat down beside him and put her arm around his shoulders. I know, me too. But today is going to be different. Today the bad people are going to start paying for what they did. How do you know? Because we are telling the truth, and the truth is powerful. Daddy used to say that lies are like shadows. They look big and scary, but when you shine a light on them, they disappear. Marcus leaned into her. I'm a miss, Daddy. Me too, buddy. Me too. They sat together in silence until Lorraine appeared in the doorway. Breakfast is ready, both of you. Come eat. Thursday, 8:15 a.m. The three of them sat around the kitchen table eating scrambled eggs that nobody was hungry for. The television was on in the background, tuned to a local news channel. Nothing unusual yet. Just traffic reports and weather forecasts. Lorraine's phone rang. She looked at the screen and frowned. Unknown number. Do not answer it, Zora said. Lorraine let it ring. A few seconds later it rang again. Same unknown number. Then Zora's phone rang. Unknown number. Then the house phone, the one they barely used anymore. Unknown number. They are trying to intimidate us, Zora said. Just ignore it. The phones kept ringing, one after another, a relentless chorus of electronic noise. Finally, Lorraine grabbed the house phone and ripped it out of the wall. Enough! The silence that followed was deafening. Then someone knocked on the front door. All three of them froze. Do not answer it, Zora whispered. Another knock, louder this time. Mrs. Mitchell. A male voice, deep, authoritative. Memphis Police Department. We need to speak with you. Lorraine looked at Zora. Her face was pale but determined. What do we do? Do not open it. They cannot come in without a warrant. Mrs. Mitchell. The voice again. We have reports of a disturbance at this address. We need to verify that everyone is safe. That is a lie, Zora hissed. There was no disturbance. They are trying to get inside. Lorraine walked to the door but did not open it. We are fine, officer. There is no disturbance here. Ma'am, I need you to open the door so I can confirm that visually. Do you have a warrant? Silence. Ma'am, I just need to see that everyone is okay. It will only take a moment. I said we are fine. If you do not have a warrant, please leave my property. More silence. Then, footsteps moving away. Zora let out a breath she did not know she had been holding. They are going to keep trying, she said. We need to stay alert. Thursday, 10:30 a.m. Imani called from her mother's shelter. They came to our old apartment this morning. The landlord let them in. They tore the place apart looking for something. Looking for what? I do not know. Evidence probably. Something to use against us. Imani's voice was tight with anger. They destroyed everything. My mother's clothes, my books, the few things we had left from Chicago. I am so sorry. Do not be sorry. Be angry. Use that anger. Imani paused. How many hours until the story drops? 3.5. Then we just have to hold on for 3.5 more hours. Can you do that? I have survived worse. My father used to beat my mother unconscious. I used to hide in the closet and listen to her scream. Compared to that, this is nothing. Her voice was hard, cold, full of a fury that matched Zora's own. We are going to win this, Imani said. We have to. Thursday, 11:45 a.m. Coach Freeman called with an update. Sandra just sent me the draft. It is good, really good. She interviewed 4 other former students who confirmed the pattern. She got quotes from 2 teachers who witnessed incidents and were told to keep quiet. And she found documentation of 3 previous complaints against Derek that were buried by the school board. What about Destiny? Sandra tracked down the driver who hit her. He agreed to go on record. He said Destiny looked him right in the eyes before she stepped in front of his car. He said she looked relieved. Zora closed her eyes. The weight of that image pressed down on her chest. The story is going to change everything, Coach Freeman continued. But there is something else you need to know. What? Sandra got a call this morning from a lawyer representing the Holloway family. He threatened to sue her and the newspaper for defamation if they publish the story. Can they do that? They can try. But Sandra is not backing down. She said she has been waiting her whole career for a story like this. She said she is not going to let some rich white family scare her into silence. What about you? Are you okay? Coach Freeman was quiet for a moment. They went to my mother's nursing home this morning, told the staff they were family, tried to get into her room. Oh my God. The staff stopped them. My mother is safe, but they wanted me to know they could reach her. What are you going to do? The same thing I have been doing for 30 years. Keep fighting, keep pushing, keep refusing to be broken. Her voice cracked slightly. My mother marched with Dr. King in 1965. She was 17 years old when they beat her bloody on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. She used to tell me that courage is not about not being afraid. It is about being afraid and doing it anyway. That is what my father used to say. Smart man. He was. I wish he could see this. Maybe he can. Maybe he is watching right now, proud of the daughter he raised. Zora wiped her eyes. 2 more hours. 2 more hours. Thursday, 1:15 p.m. 45 minutes until the story went live. Zora's phone buzzed again. This time, it was a text from a number she recognized. Derek Holloway. Last chance, Zora. Call it off or watch your world burn. She did not respond. She blocked the number. 30 seconds later, another text. Different number. Same message. Last chance. She blocked that one too. Another text. Another number. You think you are a hero. You are just a dead girl walking. She kept blocking. They kept texting. Different numbers, same threats. Over and over. Her mother watched with growing alarm. How many phones does he have? It does not matter. In 43 minutes, none of this will matter. What if he does something? What if he hurts someone before the story comes out? Then we document it. We add it to the evidence. We make sure the whole world sees what kind of monster he really is." Lorraine grabbed her daughter's hand. "I am proud of you. I need you to know that. Whatever happens today, I am proud of the woman you have become." "Mama, do not talk like that. Nothing is going to happen." "I know. I just needed to say it." They sat together holding hands, watching the clock tick toward 2. Thursday, 1:52 p.m. 8 minutes. Zora's phone rang. Coach Freeman. "Are you watching?" "Watching what?" "Turn on Channel 5. Now." Zora grabbed the remote and switched to the local news channel. Her heart stopped. Derek Holloway was on the screen. He was standing in front of Jefferson High School, surrounded by reporters, his parents on either side of him. He was crying. "I just want to tell my story," he was saying, his voice breaking. "I have been the victim of a coordinated campaign of lies and harassment. These people are trying to destroy my life, trying to destroy my family." "What is he doing?" Zora whispered. "He is getting ahead of the story," Coach Freeman said, "trying to control the narrative before Sandra's article drops." Derek's father stepped forward. He was a tall man, silver-haired, wearing a suit that probably cost more than Zora's mother made in a month. "My son is a good boy, a star athlete, a pillar of this community. And now he is being attacked by jealous, vindictive people who want to tear him down. We will not stand for it. We will fight these lies with everything we have." "They are playing the victim," Zora said. "They are actually playing the victim." "It gets worse. Keep watching." A reporter asked a question. "Mr. Holloway, there are reports that your son was involved in harassment incidents at Jefferson High. How do you respond to those allegations?" Derek's father smiled. It was a cold, confident smile. "Those allegations are completely false. In fact, we have evidence that the people making these accusations are part of a criminal conspiracy to extort our family. We have turned that evidence over to the police, and we expect arrests to be made very soon." Zora felt the blood drain from her face. "Arrests?" "He is bluffing," Coach Freeman said. "He has to be bluffing." "But what if he is not? What if they actually fabricated evidence against us? Then we fight it. We prove it is fake. We do not back down." "Coach Freeman, I am scared." "I know, so am I. But the story goes live in 4 minutes. Once it is out there, they cannot stop it. The truth will be public, and the truth is more powerful than anything they can fabricate." Thursday, 2:00 p.m. Zora's phone buzzed. A notification from the Memphis Commercial Appeal app. Breaking years of alleged abuse at Jefferson High School covered up by administration investigation reveals. She clicked on the link. The article loaded. And there it was. Everything. The pattern of harassment, the cover-ups, the threats, the testimony from multiple victims, Coach Freeman's documentation, the story of Destiny Brown. Her own name was there, identified as a current student who had recently stood up to the alleged perpetrators and faced retaliation. "It is live," she said. "It is actually live." Within minutes, the story started spreading. Social media exploded. People were sharing, commenting, outraged. Local news stations picked it up. Then regional outlets. Then national. By 2:30, it was the top trending topic in Memphis. By 3:00, CNN was asking for interviews. By 3:30, protesters had gathered outside Jefferson High School. Thursday, 4:15 p.m. The school board called an emergency meeting. Principal Harrison was photographed leaving his home, refusing to answer questions from reporters. Derek Holloway's press conference was already being mocked online. People were comparing his tearful victim act to the documented evidence of his brutality. The contrast was damning. Sandra Williams called Zora directly. "How are you holding up?" "I do not know. It does not feel real." "It is real. And it is working. The school board has already announced they are launching an independent investigation. 2 board members have called for Derek to be expelled pending the results." What about the arrest threats Derek's father said they were going to have us arrested? Sandra laughed. Empty bluster. I checked with my sources at the police department. There is no investigation into you or your family. They were trying to scare you. It worked. But you did not back down. That is what matters. What happens now? Now we keep the pressure on. More interviews, more evidence, more voices. This story is not going away, and neither are we. Thursday, 5:45 p.m. Coach Freeman arrived at Zora's house with news. Derek has been suspended, indefinitely. Tyler and Jake too. The school board voted unanimously. Zora felt her knees go weak. She sat down heavily on the couch. It is really happening. It is really happening. But there is more. More. Keisha called me. She saw the story. She wants back in. What? She said watching you fight gave her courage. She said she cannot let Destiny down. She wants to give her testimony to Sandra. On camera. For everyone to see. Zora felt tears welling up in her eyes. I thought they broke her. They tried. But some people cannot be broken. Not completely, not forever. There was a knock at the door. Zora tensed. Who is it? It is okay, Coach Freeman said. I invited some people. She opened the door. Imani was there. And behind her a crowd. 20 people, maybe more. Black faces, brown faces, white faces, students, parents, teachers, community members. What is this? A woman stepped forward. She was older, gray-haired, wearing a church dress. My name is Dorothy Williams. My grandson was bullied by Derek Holloway 3 years ago. He never told anyone because he was afraid. Today, after seeing your story, he finally came forward. A man stepped up beside her. I am Marcus Johnson. I teach at Jefferson High. I reported Derek 2 years ago for assaulting a student. I was told to keep quiet or lose my job. I kept quiet. I have been ashamed ever since. Not anymore. One by one they came forward. Story after story. Pain after pain. Years of silence, finally finding voice. Zora stood in her living room, surrounded by strangers who had become allies and felt something she had not felt in a very long time. Hope. Thursday, 8:30 p.m. The national news ran the story on the evening broadcast. They showed the protests outside Jefferson High. They showed Derek's press conference being dismantled in real time. They showed Sandra Williams explaining the evidence. And they showed a photograph of Destiny Brown, 16 years old, bright smile, full of promise, gone forever, because powerful people thought they were above the law. The anchor looked into the camera. This story is still developing, but one thing is clear. A community that was silent for too long has finally found its voice, and the people responsible are finally being held accountable. Zora sat between her mother and Marcus watching the screen. We did it, Lorraine said quietly. We actually did it. Not yet, Zora said. This is just the beginning. They have not been convicted yet. They have not faced real consequences yet. We cannot stop now. We will not stop, Marcus said. Zora looked at her brother. His eyes were bright. His jaw was set. For the first time in years, he did not stutter. We will not stop, she agreed. Thursday, 11:15 p.m. The house was finally quiet. Lorraine had gone to bed. Marcus was asleep. Zora sat alone at the kitchen table looking at her father's photograph. I did it, Daddy, she whispered. I stood up. I fought back. I did not let them win. She could almost hear his voice, proud, gentle. I knew you would, baby girl. I always knew. Her phone buzzed. One last text of the day. It was from Derek. This is not over. I will destroy you. I will destroy everyone you love. You have no idea what is coming. Zora looked at the message for a long moment. Then she typed her response. You are right. This is not over. But here is the difference between us. You destroy because you are scared. I build because I have hope. And hope will always beat fear. She hit send. Then she blocked him for the last time. Outside, the first drops of rain began to fall. A storm was coming to Memphis. The kind that washes away the old and makes room for the new. Zora Mitchell was ready. She had been invisible for too long. She had been silent for too long. She had let fear make her small, but not anymore. Now she was seen. Now she was heard. Now she was standing tall, and God help anyone who tried to knock her down. Friday, 6:30 a.m. Zora woke to the sound of her mother crying. Not sad crying. Something different. She ran to the living room and found Lorraine sitting on the couch, phone pressed to her ear, tears streaming down her face. Yes, I understand. Thank you so much. She hung up and looked at Zora. That was the Peabody Hotel, the general manager himself. He said there was a mistake. He said I was wrongfully terminated. He said he wants me back, with back pay, and a promotion. Zora felt her heart skip. What? The story, the national attention. Apparently the hotel has been flooded with calls from people threatening to boycott if they do not make things right. Lorraine laughed through her tears. They are scared. For the first time in my life, they are scared of us. She pulled Zora into a hug. You did this. My brave, stubborn, impossible girl. You did this. Friday, 8:15 a.m. The phone calls started early. News outlets, radio stations, podcasts. Everyone wanted to talk to Zora Mitchell, the 17-year-old who had taken down the most powerful family in Memphis. Coach Freeman helped her sort through the requests. CNN wants a live interview this afternoon. NPR wants to do a feature for their weekend program. And there is a documentary filmmaker who has been trying to reach you all morning. I do not know if I am ready for all this. You are ready. You have been ready your whole life. You just did not know it yet. Imani arrived at the house around 9. She was smiling for the first time since Zora had met her. Did you hear Tyler's father resigned from the city council this morning? Said he wanted to spend more time with his family. He means he does not want cameras in his face asking about his son. Same thing. Imani sat down beside her. How does it feel? Being famous? Strange, scary, like I am waiting for the other shoe to drop. Maybe there is no other shoe. Maybe we actually won. Derek is still out there. His family still has money. They could still come after us. Let them try. The whole world is watching now. They cannot hide anymore. Friday, 10:45 a.m. Sandra Williams called with an update. The district attorney is opening a formal investigation, not just into the bullying, but into the cover-up. Principal Harrison is being questioned. So is the school board president. What about Derek? He is facing multiple charges: assault, harassment, intimidation. His lawyers are trying to negotiate a plea deal, but the DA is not interested. She wants to make an example. Will he go to jail? Probably not. He is 18, but first-time offenders with expensive lawyers rarely do serious time. But his future is over. The scholarship to Alabama has been rescinded. No college will touch him now. No employer will hire him. He is going to spend the rest of his life being known as the face of racist bullying in America. That does not feel like enough. It never does, but it is something, and sometimes something is all we get. Zora was quiet for a moment. What about Destiny? Does her family get any justice? Mrs. Brown is filing a wrongful death lawsuit against the school district. She says the settlement money will go to a scholarship fund in Destiny's name. That is good. That is something Destiny would have wanted. There is one more thing. Keisha is going on camera this afternoon. Full interview. She wants to tell the whole story, every detail. She said she owes it to her sister. Is she ready for that? I do not think anyone is ever ready for something like that. But she is brave, like you, like her sister was. Friday, 1:30 p.m. Zora watched Keisha's interview live on her phone. The 14-year-old sat in a studio chair looking small but determined. Sandra Williams sat across from her, gentle but thorough. Tell me about your sister. Destiny was my best friend. She was the smartest person I knew. She wanted to be a doctor. She used to practice on me, putting bandages on my stuffed animals, taking my temperature with a toy thermometer. Keisha's voice cracked, but she kept going. When Derek started targeting her, she tried to handle it herself. She did not want to worry our parents. She thought if she just ignored it, he would get bored and move on. But he did not. No, he got worse. Every day. More messages, more rumors, more attacks. She could not go anywhere without people whispering about her. Kids she had known since kindergarten started treating her like she was contagious. Did she ever think about fighting back? She did fight back. She reported him, multiple times. But nothing happened. The school said there was no proof. Derek's father came in and threatened to sue if they took any action against his son. After that, Destiny just gave up. What do you remember about the day she died? Keisha closed her eyes. Tears streamed down her face. She came into my room that morning. She hugged me. She said she loved me. She said she was sorry. Her voice broke completely. I did not understand what she meant. I thought she was apologizing for borrowing my headphones or something. I did not know. I did not know it was goodbye. Sandra reached out and took her hand. What would you say to Derek Holloway if he was sitting here right now? Keisha opened her eyes. They were wet, but fierce. I would say that my sister was worth more than his entire family. I would say that her life mattered. I would say that he took something precious from this world, something that can never be replaced. And I would say that no matter how much money his father has, no matter how many lawyers they hire, he will never escape what he did. He will carry it forever, just like I will. She looked directly into the camera. And I would say this to anyone watching who is going through what Destiny went through. You are not alone. You matter. Your pain is real, and there are people who will fight for you. Do not give up. Please, do not give up. Friday, 3:00 p.m. The interview went viral within an hour. Keisha's face was everywhere. Her words were being quoted on every platform. People were sharing their own stories of bullying and harassment using the hashtag #JusticeForDestiny. Celebrities posted about it. Politicians issued statements. A famous musician announced she was donating $100,000 to the scholarship fund. Zora sat in her living room, overwhelmed by the flood of support. Her phone buzzed with a text from Coach Freeman. Turn on Channel 5, now. She switched on the television. Derek Holloway was being led out of his house in handcuffs. The reporter on the scene was breathless with excitement. Breaking news this afternoon, as Derek Holloway, the 18-year-old at the center of the Jefferson High abuse scandal, has been arrested on additional charges. Sources tell us that investigators discovered threatening messages on his phone, directed at multiple witnesses in the case. He is being charged with witness tampering and obstruction of justice. The camera zoomed in on Derek's face. He was crying. Real tears this time. The tears of someone who finally understood that money could not save him. His father stood on the front porch, shouting at the officers, threatening lawsuits, demanding they release his son. Nobody listened. For the first time in his life, nobody listened. Friday, 5:30 p.m. Zora, Amani, and Keisha met at Coach Freeman's house. It was a small gathering, just the four of them plus Lorraine and Marcus, but it felt like a victory celebration. I cannot believe it is over, Imani said. It is not over, Coach Freeman reminded her. There will be trials, appeals, more attacks from the Holloway lawyers. This is going to take years to fully resolve. But we won the first battle. We won the first battle, and sometimes that is the most important one. Keisha was quiet, staring at her phone. She had been reading comments on her interview all afternoon. People are saying I am brave, she said softly. Hundreds of people, thousands. They are saying I inspired them. You did, Zora said. You are brave. I do not feel brave. I feel tired, and sad, and angry. That is what brave feels like. Anyone who tells you different has never had to be brave. Keisha looked up at her. Thank you. For not giving up on me. For fighting even when I could not. You would have done the same for me. I do not know if I would have. I was so scared. When those cops took me in for questioning, I thought my life was over. I thought they were going to lock me up and throw away the key. But you came back. That is what matters. Coach Freeman raised her glass of sweet tea. To destiny. Who deserved better? Who deserved to live? Who will never be forgotten? They all raised their glasses. To destiny. Friday, 8:00 p.m. The sun was setting over Memphis. Zora stood on her front porch watching the colors paint the sky. Her mother came out and stood beside her. What are you thinking about? Daddy? I wish he could see this. He can. I believe that. I believe he has been watching over you this whole time. Do you think he would be proud? Lorraine put her arm around her daughter. Baby, he was always proud of you, from the moment you were born. He used to hold you in his arms and tell me you were going to change the world someday. I thought he was exaggerating. Turns out he was just telling the truth. I did not change the world. I just stood up for one person. That is how it starts. One person standing up for one person, then another, then another. Before you know it, you have a movement. They stood together in silence for a while. Then Lorraine said something that made Zora's heart stop. There is something I never told you about your father. Something I was saving for when you were older. What? The day he died. The accident at the factory. It was not really an accident. Zora turned to face her mother. What do you mean? The safety guards were removed because the factory owner wanted to increase production. Your father complained. He filed reports. He threatened to go to OSHA, so they started scheduling him for the most dangerous shifts, putting him on the oldest machines, setting him up to fail. Lorraine's voice was steady, but her eyes were wet. The machine that killed him had been flagged for repairs 3 times. Each time the repair was delayed. The last delay was ordered the day after your father filed his final complaint. They killed him. They created the conditions that killed him, and then they paid us $50,000 to keep quiet. Zora felt rage building in her chest. Why did you never tell me? Because I was scared. Because I thought if I made waves they would come after you and Marcus. Because I had already lost my husband, and I could not bear to lose anything else. She grabbed Zora's hands. But watching you this week, seeing you fight, seeing you refuse to be silenced, it made me realize that I was wrong. Silence is not safety. Silence is surrender. What do you want to do? I want to reopen the case. I want to investigate what really happened. I want the people who killed your father to face justice, just like Derek is facing justice now. That could take years. I know, but you taught me something important this week. You taught me that the fight is never over, that giving up is never the answer, that the only way forward is through. She squeezed Zora's hands. Will you help me? Zora looked at her mother, at the strength in her eyes, at the determination in her jaw. Yes, she said. I will help you. Saturday, 10:00 a.m. 1 week after Imani was knocked down on the steps of Jefferson High School. Zora walked through the front doors of the school for the first time since the story broke. Students stopped and stared. Some whispered. Some pointed. But something was different now. Instead of mockery, there was respect. Instead of hostility, there was admiration. A freshman girl approached her nervously. Are you Zora Mitchell? Yes. Can I talk to you sometime about something that happened to me? Of course. Find me at lunch. I will be under the oak tree. The girl's face lit up with relief. Thank you. Thank you so much." She hurried away. Imani appeared beside Zora. "How many is that now?" "7. 7 kids have asked to talk to me this morning. You are becoming a movement." "I do not want to be a movement. I just want things to be better." "Same thing." They walked toward their first class together. Coach Freeman met them in the hallway. "Principal Harrison resigned this morning. The school board is bringing in someone new. Someone from outside the district. Someone with a record of actually protecting students." "That is good news." "There is more. The new principal wants to meet with you. She wants to talk about starting a student advocacy program. Something official. Something with resources and support." "Me." "Why me?" "Because you proved that students can make a difference. You proved that one voice can change everything. She wants you to help other students find their voices too." Zora thought about all the kids who had approached her that morning, all the pain they were carrying, all the silence they were ready to break. "Okay," she said. "I will meet with her." Saturday, 2:00 p.m. The meeting with the new principal went well. Her name was Dr. Patricia Washington. She was a black woman from Atlanta with 30 years of experience in education reform. "I have read everything about what happened here," she said. "The cover-ups, the intimidation, the systematic failure to protect vulnerable students. It is one of the worst cases I have ever seen." "What are you going to do about it?" "Everything. New policies, new training, new accountability systems. But none of that will matter without students like you willing to speak up when something is wrong." "I am just one person." "One person can change the world. You already proved that, Doctor." Washington leaned forward. "I want to create a peer advocacy council. Students helping students. A safe space where kids can report problems without fear of retaliation. I want you to lead it." "Me, I am not a leader." "You stood up to the most powerful family in Memphis when everyone else was afraid. You organized witnesses, gathered evidence, and worked with journalists to expose the truth. You are already a leader, Zora. You just have not accepted it yet." Zora thought about her father. About the way he used to stand up for what was right, even when it cost him everything. "Okay," she said. "I will do it." Saturday, 6:00 p.m. The community gathered at Greater Mount Zion Baptist Church for a special service. It was supposed to be a memorial for Destiny Brown, but it had become something more. A celebration, a reckoning, a promise. Hundreds of people filled the pews. Black and white, young and old, students and teachers, parents and community leaders. Keisha spoke first. She talked about her sister, about the girl she was before Derek Holloway destroyed her, about the dreams that would never come true. Then Coach Freeman spoke, about the years of silence, about the evidence she had collected, about the courage it took to finally come forward. Then Sandra Williams spoke, about the power of journalism, about the responsibility to tell the truth, about what happens when communities refuse to accept injustice. Finally, it was Zora's turn. She walked to the podium and looked out at the sea of faces. Her mother was in the front row holding Marcus's hand. Imani was beside them, nodding encouragement. "I am not good at speeches," Zora began. "I spent most of my life trying to be invisible, trying to disappear, trying to survive by not being seen." She paused. "But I learned something this week. Being invisible does not keep you safe. It just makes it easier for bad people to hurt you. The only real safety comes from standing together, from speaking up, from refusing to let evil happen in silence." Her voice grew stronger. "Destiny Brown should be here today. She should be getting ready for college. She should be planning her future. She should be alive. But she is not. Because a system designed to protect students failed her. Because adults who should have helped her looked the other way. Because powerful people thought they were above the law." She looked directly at Keisha. "I cannot bring Destiny back. No one can. but I can make sure her death was not meaningless. I can make sure that what happened to her never happens to anyone else at Jefferson High School. That is my promise. To Destiny. To Keisha. To every kid who has ever been bullied and felt like no one cared. She turned back to the congregation. I am asking you to make the same promise. Not just today, but every day. When you see something wrong, say something. When you see someone hurting, help them. When you see injustice, fight it. Do not wait for someone else to be brave. Be brave yourself. She raised her fist. For Destiny. The congregation rose to their feet. For Destiny. The voices echoed through the church, through the streets, through the whole city of Memphis. A promise made. A movement born. Sunday, 8:00 a.m. 1 week and 1 day since everything changed. Zora stood in front of her father's grave. She had not been here since the funeral. It hurt too much. But today felt different. Hey, Daddy, she said softly. It has been a while. The morning was quiet, just the sound of birds and the distant hum of traffic. I did something this week, something I think you would be proud of. I stood up. I fought back. I did not let the bad guys win. She knelt down and traced her fingers over his name. William James Mitchell. Beloved husband and father. 1975-2024. Mama told me the truth about what happened to you. About the factory. About the cover-up. We are going to fight for justice for you too. It might take years. It might take forever. But we are not going to stop. She felt tears running down her face. I used to be so angry at you for dying, for leaving us, for not being here when I needed you most. But I understand now. You did not choose to leave. You were taken by people who valued money more than human life, just like Derek and his family. She stood up and wiped her eyes. I am going to make sure it never happens again, not to anyone else. That is my promise to you. That is my purpose now. She placed a single flower on his grave. I love you, Daddy. I always will. She turned and walked away. Behind her, a ray of sunlight broke through the clouds and illuminated the headstone. Just for a moment. Just long enough. Then it was gone. Sunday, 12:00 p.m. Zora sat under the oak tree at Jefferson High School, the same tree where she had first sat with Imani, the same tree where everything had started. Imani was beside her. Keisha was on her other side. A dozen other students had gathered around them, kids who had been bullied, kids who had been silent, kids who were ready to speak. So what happens now? One of them asked. Zora looked around at their faces. Scared, hopeful, determined. Now we build something new. A place where everyone feels safe. A place where bullies cannot hide. A place where every voice matters. How do we do that? One day at a time, one person at a time, one act of courage at a time. She stood up and held out her hand to the group. We start by making a promise, to each other, to ourselves, that we will never be silent again, that we will always stand up for each other, that we will fight for justice no matter how hard it gets. One by one they stood. One by one they joined hands. Say it with me, Zora said. I will not be silent. I will not be silent. I will stand up. I will stand up. I will fight for justice. I will fight for justice. I will not be invisible anymore. I will not be invisible anymore. The words echoed across the empty schoolyard. A promise, a declaration, a beginning. Zora Mitchell had spent 16 years being invisible, being silent, being afraid. That girl was gone now. In her place stood someone new, someone strong, someone who knew that courage was not the absence of fear, but the refusal to let fear win. She had lost her father. She had faced down monsters. She had watched a system designed to protect children fail them over and over again. But she had also found something precious. Her voice. And she would never be silent again. The sun climbed higher in the sky over Memphis. The city hummed with life and noise and possibility. Somewhere a mother was holding her child. Somewhere a teacher was inspiring a student. Somewhere a bully was learning that actions have consequences. And under an oak tree at Jefferson High School, a group of young people were making history. Not with violence, not with hatred, not with destruction, with courage, with solidarity, with love. Because that is how the world changes. One voice at a time, one stand at a time, one Zora Mitchell at a time, and the story was just beginning.